finding your niche, it's not about having a perfect plan. It's not about doing something that nobody else is doing. Your niche is simply the problem that you help people solve. That's it. Your coaching business should really light you the hell up. Hey, beautiful. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Divorce Revolution. So one of the things that keeps new coaches stuck before they even start building out their business is trying to figure out their niche. This right here, even trying to craft the whole I help statement, like I help divorced moms start and grow an online coaching business so they always have their own damn money. That is my I help statement that I have on my Instagram bio. Believe it or not, that right there is like the sticking point for so many coaches that are just getting going. It can be so paralyzing and so agonizing, but it doesn't have to be. You know, oftentimes we start getting overwhelmed when we start thinking about what we'd want to coach on. It's like, okay, what would I even focus on? Like, what if I pick the wrong thing? Am I even qualified to coach in this area? Is this too specific? I don't want to rule out people. I've got so many things that I'm good at or so many ideas floating around, but I don't really know how to narrow it down. Like, this is the conversation that with people every single day. And so the good news is that, listen, if you are here because you've been overthinking your niche instead of taking action, girl, this episode is for you, because today we are going to be breaking down the simple formula to find your perfect niche without overcomplicating it, how to pick something that feels aligned and profitable. And I also want to share with you the biggest mistakes that I see new coaches make when they are choosing a niche, because I want you to avoid them. Okay. These are the lessons that I learned the hard way. All right. Now, if you're still sitting here and you're thinking, oh my God, like, yes, I want to know all of this, but girl, I have no idea. Even if we nail the perfect niche, Amber, I have no idea where to start in building a coaching business. Don't worry. I got you. Because as I've been sharing with you guys, I have a free live virtual event called Divorce to Dollars, where I am going to walk you through exactly how to get your coaching business off the ground step by step. We actually start tomorrow, April 15th. It's a 2-part series. Yes, it will be recorded, but girl, if you are serious about starting a coaching business or you're serious about exploring it, you must show up live. You are going to get the most out of this event if you show up live. So head to the link in the show notes and grab your free seat. And let's get into it. Let's find your niche, girl. So first of all, let's get one thing straight. Let's get one thing straight about some language here. You don't need to find your niche, okay? Like, your niche is already inside you, because most coaches really overcomplicate this because they think some of these limiting beliefs when it comes to like picking a niche, right? And when we talk about, just to clarify something, when I talk about picking a niche, really what I'm talking about is who are we helping and what is the problem that we're solving for them, right? Because if you're going to help somebody, you have to know what is their problem. What do they need help with? Right? That way you can provide a solution. Oftentimes though, when I see a lot of new coaches that aren't getting traction in their business, it's not that oftentimes they're not clear on who they want to help. Usually people get really clear on that piece of it. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes they feel like they want to help too many different people. But what I mean, like sometimes around like, especially around like the demographics, like, oh, I want to help women over 40, or, oh, I want to help married couples that have been married for a year, right? Like oftentimes that can be the easier part, but where a lot of uncertainty or even where the lack of clarity comes in though, is actually answering the question, what is the problem I'm solving for them, right? The how am I helping them? That's really like the third question that is the foundation of a coaching business. So who am I helping? What's the problem I'm solving? And how am I helping them? But really your niche is defined by the problem that you're solving for somebody. And so I think that that's what really hangs people up. It really is what trips people up in getting clarity around just first and foremost, what's the problem I'm solving? And then, who am I helping? And so what it can happen, the trap that a lot of like new coaches or women who are thinking about starting a coaching business fall into is that they first think that they need to be an expert before they start. And seriously, if you still think that, then you missed last week's episode. Okay. I want you to go back. I want you to listen to last week's episode all about, busting through imposter syndrome and walking you through why you're more qualified to start a coaching business than you think. You definitely want to tune into last week's episode. But another thing I think that people the trap that they fall into is they get so paralyzed that they're going to pick the wrong niche, or that they have to get hyper specific from day one. And yes, here's the thing. Getting hyper specific in a niche is super important. That is true. However, what can happen though, and this is like when I coach women in ReNewU, which is my 8-week group program for beginners who want to start an online coaching business. I've got that program opening up in April, but one of the things that we focus on is in the beginning, getting clarity around your niche and getting a general direction is what's important. Where you start to get that clarity and that specificity and get super niche down is when you start taking action. And what I mean by that, simply put, is like when you start getting going in a niche and you start putting content out there and people start responding, you start seeing what's hitting with people, what's resonating, what's not, then that is how you start to dial in your messaging. That is how you start to really distill down your niche. And so oftentimes I think what happens with women is that they think they have to have everything locked in, perfect, and everything as it relates to a niche. And really in the beginning, when you're first just getting going, it really just has to be like just good enough. It does not have to be perfect, because you are inevitably probably going to change whatever niche that you started with. You're either going to change it as you start to get more into the process of building a coaching business, or you're just going to start to get more niche down. It's going to be more specific. That's a big one that hangs people up. The other one that hangs people up is they have to create a niche that nobody else is doing. Well, girl, I'm going to tell you what, if that is a limiting belief you have, you're never going to start your coaching business, and especially the algorithm likes to fuck with you a little bit, because as soon as you start talking about with anybody or like even looking at anything online around coaching in a particular niche, then you're going to find all of a sudden everything on your feed is all about whatever niche you were looking into. And you're like, damn it, everybody's doing it. So no, the thing is it's not about, when we talk about a niche, it's not about doing something that nobody else is doing. What makes you uniquely you is your experience, your personality, right? We chalk all of it up to like your unique selling proposition, right? Or your unique value. That is what makes you stand out as a coach. You're not having a niche that nobody else is doing. It's your experience, your take on it. That's why people are going to gravitate to you. So what I really want you to remember is that your niche is simply the problem that you help people solve. That's it. That's all it is, right? It's not about a fancy title or a formal credential or a particular logo or having things all figured out. It literally just starts with identifying how your expertise or your experience can help someone else. I want to give you a quick formula though for choosing your niche. Just know this. I am going to touch on this, but I don't expect you guys to like walk away with like nailing your niche right after this episode. And in fact, in ReNewU, my program that I've got coming up in April, we spent a lot of time, walking through really crafting your niche. And I personally coach you through that process, because it does take some time to really formulate that, because we are really looking at your experience and your passions and your expertise, and really looking at all of it and really finding that perfect intersection of what are you good at, what are you qualified to do, and what's an actual viable niche, right? What is a problem that people have that you can solve. But I want to just kind of give you like a loose framework so that you can just kind of get like a 30,000 foot view on exactly how you would start to craft. And it really boils down to 3 questions. Okay. 3 very simple questions. Number 1, this is a great starting point. Number 1, what problem have I solved already for myself? So maybe think about a transformation that you've had in your own life, or something that you have navigated in your own life, and think through that and start there, right? Maybe even just taking your divorce, for example. Did you navigate a divorce and come out stronger? Did you have to rebuild your life, rebuild your confidence? Did you have to get financially literate, right? Did you have to get back into dating? Did you have to, figure out how to manage money as a single mom? Or maybe you've had a transformation in like the health and wellness space. Or maybe there's just an area where you've gotten really, really good, like in your professional career, things that you've done in your professional career that you absolutely could coach people on and teach people how to do. So I just want you to start with like, before you start looking at getting credentials and getting additional degrees and certifications and all of that, I want you to just first start with you. Like looking at your past and things that you've done, start there. Okay. The second thing that I want you to look at is, what do people already ask you for advice on? So, the truth is that your niche is probably something that you're already helping your friends with, even if you don't realize it yet. I know for me, when I first got going with my first coaching company in the health and wellness space, I really was like kind of resistant to get into health and wellness because I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do. But when I started working with a mentor, she was like, what do people come to you for? Like, I know you're like kind of struggling with this, but bottom line, what do people come to you for? And I was like, well, my friends usually come to me for like getting in shape and fitness and exercise nutrition. And they're like, she's like, is there a reason why you don't want to do that? And for me at the time, it was imposter syndrome. It was like, oh my God, well, and at that time I was still navigating like an unhealthy relationship with food and an unhealthy relationship with my body. And all of that had really all of those negative feelings about myself around my body and my weight and all of that had really increased when I was going through my divorce. It was just like, I was so low in my confidence in all areas of life. And so when my mentor at the time asked me, I realized that the reason why I didn't want to go into it is just because I was afraid that I wasn't, healed enough, or I was afraid that I didn't have the perfect body with the perfect six pack and all the things. And so that really was like a big block for me. But once I was able to really look at it and realize like, I don't have to have a freaking shredded six pack in order to help people get into better shape. Like, not everybody, number one, wants a shredded six pack. Number two, I don't have to be to that level in order to just be able to help people live a healthier lifestyle, right? So that is a huge one, is realizing that your niche may be what people are already coming to you for, right? The third one is what kind of transformation would I be excited to help people with? So the third question, what kind of transformation would I be excited to help people with? Because bottom line is that your niche should be something that lights you the hell up. Okay. I can tell you, this is why in all of my marketing, I talk about how when I help women to build a coaching business, it is not related to MLM, MRR, or network marketing. And it's not because I'm bashing any of those like ways to make money. I'm not, it's just not my jam. But for me, I think I struggle with women who are wanting to build a online business because they think when it comes to digital marketing and reselling courses and all of that, again, there's lots of people that are very successful about it. And if you're passionate about that, well, then freaking do it. Right? Do it and do it well. But don't just do something because you think that's like a fast way to like make quick cash. I promise you this, when it comes to, I talk to women all day, every day who have gone that route. They've gone that route of affiliate marketing, network marketing, and maybe worked for them for a little while. And then eventually though, they're back to square one because it burned them the hell out because they were not really passionate about it. What I believe is that if you are really going to do all the work that it takes to build something of your own and build a business, it damn well better light you the hell up. It damn well better excites you. Otherwise, you will have no longevity in it at all. And I know sometimes, especially with all these creators on Instagram and in the online space, talking about, again, affiliate marketing and network marketing and these digital resell and all that kind of stuff. And again, not bashing any of those. I'm just saying that I think it can be very easy to fall into the trap of seeing those as like the shiny object and like, oh, it looks so easy. Like, look at this person. She's making millions of dollars in her sleep and she's not doing anything. I'm going to tell you right now, those scenarios are so few and far between. And that's not, unfortunately, the reality for most people. And I don't want to go on a tangent on this, but I'll say this. The reason also why that's not really a reality for most people is because what most people miss is actually selling the freaking course is like the smallest piece of that. If you're going into a business where you're like doing digital resell of courses, what really is going to determine whether or not you're successful or not is whether or not you know how to be a master marketer and you know how to actually market yourself on social media. It has nothing to do with the selling of the courses. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people, especially when they're trying to do it on their own, that's where a lot of people go wrong. This is why when I coach women, and this is something we're going to be talking about in Divorce to Dollars, but when I coach women, we spend a lot of time teaching you and mentoring you on how to become a master marketer. Because I don't care if you're selling freaking ice to Eskimos. If you don't know how to be a master marketer in the online space, it doesn't matter what you're selling, you're going to struggle. Right? So it's really, really important. But let me get back on track here. I was just going to say this, so that just underscores the point for me that your coaching business should really light you the hell up. So let's talk now. I want to share a little bit about some of the mistakes that I see new coaches make and how to avoid them. So the first one is, and we kind of touched on this one a little bit, but thinking that your niche has to be unique. Listen, if there are other coaches in your niche, good. That's a good thing. That means that that's probably a viable niche, that there is demand. And as I said earlier, what makes your coaching unique is you. It's because nobody has your story. Nobody has your experiences. Nobody has your voice or your way of helping people. Your unique selling proposition, what makes you uniquely you, that's what's going to make you stand out. Now, the second mistake that I see is trying to help everyone. Now, I think that nobody really goes into it with like the mindset of trying to help everyone, but bottom line is that when your niche is not specific or your messaging is not specific, then it's too broad. And when we're talking to everybody, we're talking to nobody. So like some examples of like really broad niches, which means that we're not able to really go deep with a specific segment of people, which is like, I want to help women feel empowered. Like that's a beautiful why. But when it comes to online marketing and it comes to really selling yourself and connecting with your ideal client, that's not specific enough. Instead, we want to think about really focusing on one clear transformation. Right? One clear transformation. I've got a client that I coach, and her area of expertise is, of course, she wants to help women feel empowered. But how does she do that? By having one clear transformation, which is how she helps divorced women to rediscover themselves again so that they can find love again. Right? So she's not a dating coach. She helps women to find love again, but it starts with finding themselves again, right? Do you see how that's a little bit more specific than just helping women to feel empowered? That is a reframe for when it comes to the specificity and the clarity. The third mistake that I see women making is that just really waiting until the time is right, waiting until they feel ready. The truth is that clarity and confidence comes from action. As I always say, you do not, nor should you, have it all figured out before you start coaching. And in fact, as I think I said this in my last episode, like if you wait until you're 100% ready, you've waited too long. I mean, regardless, I'm saying it again. If you wait to start your business until you are 100% ready, you have waited too long. And the reason why is because you will, where you first start is not where you will end up. Because you only know what you know in the beginning. And so how you really start to get dialed in, how you really start to get specific around things like who am I helping and what's the problem I'm solving, and then like what's the transformation I can provide? Absolutely by taking action, by learning, doing market research, getting in the trenches, building out your community, listening to people who have this problem. What are they struggling with? And really starting to settle into your process. If you feel like you have been guilty of any of these three mistakes, right, of thinking your niche has to be unique, maybe that's causing paralysis, or maybe not having clarity and you're trying to help everybody, or maybe you don't feel ready, this is exactly why you need to come to Divorce to Dollars, because I'm going to share with you how to choose your niche, how to attract clients, and really how the exact step-by-step plan for how to start making money now. I want you to head to the link in the show notes, grab your seat for that. And what I want you to know as we wrap up is finding your niche, it's not about having a perfect plan. It's not. It's never about having a perfect plan. It's about starting with what you know and refining as you go. Because your niche is simply the problem that you help solve. That's it. And you don't have to be a quote expert. And how I defined expert is either feeling that you've like gotten 100% to the other side of something, or feeling like you have to have a formal credential or certification. Your experience is enough. And the best way that you can really get clarity around these things is simply to take action. So here's your action step for today, right? Here's what I want you to do next. Girl, I want you to go to the link in the show notes and I want you to join me for Divorce to Dollars. Even if you're just a bit curious if starting a coaching business is for you, right? And what that could even look like. So head to the link in the show notes and I'll see you at Divorced to Dollars.